what we're going to be talking about in the next 5 years, I don't know. We haven't designed it yet. And to me, that's very exciting.
Welcome to the Media Machine, where media, business, and innovation blend seamlessly together to create something spectacular. Hi, I'm your host, Johanna Salazar. Wait, I'm not Johanna Salazar. I'm Julie Kalman-Redding, and I get to interview Johanna Salazar. And listen, if you don't know Johanna, buckle up, because Johanna is that rare mix of visionary meets powerhouse, a true wonder kind of many forces. She dreams in color, executes in code, and somehow makes the impossible sound like a Tuesday morning project. And while most people I know are launching shows, Johanna's been there. She's done that. And she's launching platforms now, like an actual platform. Who does that? Well, Johanna does that. She's the co-founder of Foodstream Network, a global AI network. And yes, you heard that right. AI meets food meets the future, fighting food insecurity, using her powers for good, and changing the lives of thousands of people. She's fierce, funny, and fearless, and the kind of person who, when she has an idea, she actually builds it. She's also one of the smartest, most generous people with her time. Every time I call her with one tiny question, I hang up about an hour later with a masterclass in whatever topic we just discussed. And that's why we're here today. I know Johanna has a ton to share from her knowledge as to what she's discovered these last couple of years. And if you're stuck right now, like you're not exactly sure where to go from here, this is a conversation you are not going to want to miss. And if someone sent this to you, it's because they care about you and your future. Because maybe you have a brilliant idea and you don't know where to start. Maybe you've been laid off and you don't know where to go from here, but she'll guide you through her career journey, finding a mix of inspiration, brilliance, and those let's just make it happen vibes, empowering our own creative empires. So grab your coffee, your comfy pants, and your laptop, because Johanna's taking us straight into your future.
Wow, Julie, you're definitely going to steal my job.
You have had such an extraordinary couple years, in my opinion, but I think it feels like it all started at Viacom when you were there. Will you tell us a little bit about what you did there and how you kind of got from the network side into the entrepreneurial tech side that you are now?
I feel like my story is the story of so many people at Viacom. I started as an intern. I worked my way up the ladder. And I was always on the production and production management side. So I feel like I went back and forth, but I was primarily on the production management side. I remember one time I said to someone, which side is the one that manages the money? Because those are the bosses. And somebody said, that's production management. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And I just ended up staying in production management my whole career. And then I became vice president of production planning and operations at Viacom. And at that point, I was working across all the different networks, MTV, VH1, Logo, Comedy Central, Spike. And then most recently, I was executive in charge of production for one of the shows at Paramount. That was pretty fun. I've always been a Viacomer. Whenever I left Viacom, I would do other things that I really wanted to do more on the creative side, like development, start other companies, stuff like that. It was a fun ride.
So when did you start thinking, I can build this stuff myself, I can do my own shows, I can build my own company? Like, when did that entrepreneurial spirit really start sort of rising within you?
I don't know. I think that when I was thinking about my past, like when did it really start? I remember I did a documentary with a group of friends, and we went to Brazil and we documented the journey of these students doing service work abroad. That was like the first time that we did something like that. And then after that, I realized I could just start my own company and be my own production company. But I didn't know how to make money. I was really bad at making money. And I realized, gosh, I'm really bad at this. I don't even know how do people do it? I would go back and forth from being inside to going out and starting companies. But I think it was at around that time. I always wanted to build things. I feel like deep down I've always been a systems builder and I just didn't know it. So I think it's beyond an entrepreneurial mindset. It's more of a systems builder mindset. Yeah.
It's funny because I feel like when most of us were a little in denial about this industry, that maybe it'll come back or it's sustainable or it wasn't really evolving the way that it truly is. You were already off on your own, building those systems, launching into tech, creating things that we haven't, most of us, the larger audience, hadn't started doing yet. What was the most interesting thing for you as you started moving in that direction? direction and the innovation and the efficiency direction.
I remember back in 2012, I went to Russia. I went with a friend and I really wanted to see what technologies were out there because I kept listening. I kept hearing about AR, VR, and all these things that I didn't really know anything about. And in Russia in 2012, I felt like I was in the future and I was experiencing, it was the first time I saw a book that I draw in the book. I drew my own car and then the car came to life with my phone. Like I put my phone against the book and that car that I literally just drew came to life and I would hold my book around the desk that I was doing this and the car was driving around and I was blown away. I was like, wow, this is insane. And then when I put on headsets for the first time, I was in this developer's room because at the time, not a lot of people were playing around with VR. So the people that were in it were mainly developers and software engineers and creative technologists. Like me, I identify as a creative technologist. And it just blew my mind, the intimacy in the technology and how it just transformed you and transported you to different worlds. And that just got me so excited. And I was like, I need to be in this space.
So is that what drives you? Just the excitement of it, the possibility, or is it that you have this big goal of feeding the world? What is it that drives you every single day?
I feel like what drives me is gratitude. Somebody said to me one time, "You're always so happy." And I said, "No, it's just that I am always grateful." My family came here from Colombia. My whole family are immigrants. And when you come from an immigrant family and you see them work so hard to bring you, to sacrifice, to put their lives in danger to give you an opportunity at life, you don't take that for granted. I've always had this huge sense of responsibility and gratitude. Gratitude for my family, for what my mom did, what my grandmother did. I come from a family of matriarchs. It's a lot of women. And so like a deep sense of gratitude for all the struggles and that they did to bring us here and give us an opportunity at life. And then the other thing is just the huge responsibility that comes with that mindset. I think those are my two drivers for sure. And anybody that knows me knows that. Like I want to be the ambassador of gratitude and I want to create the icon for gratitude all over the world one day.
It's funny because that's it's so steeped in humanity. And I think what happens with technology is it's very easy to lose that, right? It's like the key is really to find the place where humanity and technology meets in terms of creating anything. Like it can't just all be computerized or AI. Like you have to maintain that humanity in it. Your origin story is just so like the gratitude really rests within your family. And that probably feeds into you have the ability to build these systems and these companies and these platforms, but you also want to do it for other people as well and provide other opportunities. And the food stream is incredible because it's like you want to help other people. It's all about people.
Yeah. I feel like I've also identified as a social entrepreneur for a long time, and social entrepreneurship is double and triple bottom line businesses. So profit, people, planet, which leads into my four key pillars that I base this entire podcast on. And well, those are three pillars: profit, people, planet. But then I added the fourth pillar, which is why I call it my four key pillars. And the fourth pillar is process. So I feel like everything I do is driven by those pillars and is very much in alignment with those pillars.
Yeah. I can tell. That's why I like you so much, Johanna. Okay, so what I notice is not everybody is so tech forward. Like not everybody can just like learn a program or a platform or do some of the things that some other people can do. And it holds them back a lot from pursuing their ideas, building a business, moving forward. What would your advice be to people who aren't as in love with tech and programs as we might be?
I wasn't always a tech founder, and I for a long time I didn't call myself that because I didn't feel that I could call myself that. But I've been in the technology space for almost 15 years and I've been developing software for clients for over 10 years. So I had to embrace it. I was like, I am a tech founder and that's what I am. So what I say to people is I think we all need to be tech forward, tech driven, and tech mindful. Everything that we're experiencing today, especially today, is driven by technology. Our phones, our technology. We are surrounded by laptops and smart televisions. Like kids are growing up today thinking that if they can't swipe the TV must be broken. Those are 3-year-olds, right?
Right.
So I want to encourage people to embrace technology. YouTube University is my university. I feel
Mhm.
like I have an MBA, and I'm going to continue furthering my education, but we have access to everything at our fingertips more than ever before. So I'm always encouraging people to, whatever time you have to spend on learning, go on YouTube and learn something around technology, learn what's happening with AI today. What is vibe coding? How can you create things yourself? How do I use these new AI GPTs? How do I create one myself? I think it doesn't hurt anybody. If anything, it makes them more valuable. Somebody said, AI is not going to take your job. It's somebody using AI who will take your job. I
Mhm.
believe that. I believe that right now, especially in the media space that we're in, so many people are out of work, and so many people who are incredibly talented are just, people that we admire, we look up to, are out of work. Those people are either going to stay stuck, or they're going to embrace the tech, and they're going to take advantage of all the tools that are out there and all the education that's out there to improve themselves. I believe that producers are going to be using these technologies. We're going to be expected to be using these technologies, because why would I sit around and, let me put my PM hat on. I'm usually the person that's creating the budgets. I'm usually the person that's designing. Once there's an idea baked in from the development team, I'm the person that's there mapping it out and designing who we can hire, where the hires are going to come from, how much money we're going to put on this. So why would we build teams with 100 people on it, especially when budgets are getting cut like crazy? All the networks are dying, mergers and acquisitions are happening. We're being expected to do either the same or more with less. So how do we do that? Is by embracing technology. And you know more than anybody how these new technologies today are incredible. Like I can literally take this entire episode, put it on Opus Clip, and get 75 clips, and all of those clips are perfect. You click on it and boom, it distributes automatically, and it puts graphics, and it does all the things that usually would have taken a team of people to do. Now, one click and you do it yourself. So that's my advice to everybody. It's just like, educate yourselves. Everything is out there. Learn, and embrace what's coming.
Yeah. I mean, I think that goes like not just people looking for their next role, it's people that are executives and producers. Like everybody really needs to be up on this technology, I think, because like you said,
Yeah.
it's so easy. I'm actually collaborating with a younger woman who is so smart. She's in the tech space. She's a software engineer and she builds AI and she automates things like that. Like she's automating an entire job that she has that her boss doesn't know she's automating. And she turns around beta ideas quickly, like as we would turn around a deck for a show. She writes the technology in a hot second and comes up with something by the end of the day. I mean, she just knows technology, and those are the people coming up. So I think it's cool. I love talking about tech with people. Like I find it so fascinating to hear how things are evolving. And then it becomes a little frustrating, right? When you're using more antiquated technology in a show or something. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like when you go into projects and there's a better way to do it, or what's your experience been?
It's a little painful sometimes when just this week, people come and pitch to me. I'm sitting there and they're 17 pages into a deck, and I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. Like, I'm always open and I always want to help people. So I give them the feedback and I ask permission first. I'm like, do you want me to tell you what I really think? But you got to give me permission. Otherwise, I won't. I don't want to be so honest if I don't need to be. But yeah, I mean, people still create and develop content the old way. They're pitching the same way, and they're expecting networks to come in, and the networks might be there, might not be there soon, but people like us are pitching differently, and we're actually the ones designing what the future will look like. When I was at Viacom, I created the metadata task force. So I did women in data panel, like talks and I did all this stuff. And it was really cool because those were the initial stages of Paramount and Paramount Plus. First, we identified all the people that touch data within Viacom and across the Viacom channels. And then we created this metadata task force. And the challenge was like, how do you standardize metadata across all the different networks? That was the foundation of what they have today. And I'm very proud of that work that we did. If I didn't have that kind of thinking, it would have taken longer for that group to get together. And by the time they brought the teams together, the product teams, the tech teams, and everybody to start thinking about how they were going to build the foundation for P plus, they already had people who were tackling a part of that, which was really cool. But all of that and that kind of thinking requires vision and requires not being afraid to cut through when others, all they're doing is putting barriers up for growth. Yeah, and that's usually what happens inside the networks, which is what we're seeing a lot of now, why they're either dying or they're evolving. They're all tech companies now. So going back to the tech question, that's why everybody needs to embrace tech, because they're all tech companies now.
Yeah, it's so well said. Since you have so much foresight in technology and where media companies are going, and you did all of that way before any of us were even thinking of it, when you look at the industry in 5 years, what do you see the media companies, production companies? Do you see it still fully staffed? Do you see it smaller staff with people that know technology, as you said? What do you see?
Definitely teams are going to be smaller. 100% teams are going to be smaller because they're all tech companies. They're going to be functioning like tech companies. I've been in media for a long time, but I think that this generation, what we're going to be seeing is going to be massive change and in a very quick time period. What took us 20 years will take 5 to 10, maybe less. With everything that's out there. In the next 5 years, it's gonna look, I don't even know what it's gonna look like. Cause I mean, look at what everything looks like now, and it's only AI. I mean, I've been talking about AI for at least 2 years, and before we called it something different. It was just like machine learning technologies and large language model systems. So what we're going to be talking about in the next 5 years, I don't know. We haven't designed it yet. And to me, that's very exciting.
Yeah. It is. I think it's all helpful to our process and to producing and creating, because it just makes everything more efficient and sometimes better. Okay, what is the best advice that you've ever gotten in your career at any point?
Sleep on it. My one of my bosses said to me one time, don't send that email, sleep on it, because in the morning you might not feel the way you feel right now. She was like, 98% of the time you're not going to feel that way, and you're probably not going to send the email, so just sleep on it. I was young in my career, and I think I might have sent an email that maybe pissed off a lot of people. I was a young manager, and I sent an email to my coordinator, and I sent the email back when we used to send emails. But yeah, she said sleep on it, and she was right. The next day I felt different, and I didn't send the email. And when I read the email, I was like, ooh, I'm glad I didn't send this email.
I mean, that is such a good lesson, especially now with the speed of how everything is moving with AI, like just to take a moment and breathe.
Yeah.
But I always find the biggest challenge is time. We've talked about this before. AI can serve up things so quickly. It's like the time to actually put what you need in place. It's just, I feel like I've never caught up. So that's a great advice.
Yeah,
So
it was really helpful to me.
if somebody has a great idea and they're not necessarily tech savvy, but they do want to build something, what's your advice to them? How do they get started?
Well, first of all, just do it. Go back to the YouTube University example that I gave before. Everything is on there. There are enough videos to teach us how to use anything, especially now with vibe coding. You can do vibe coding or no coding tools. You can create anything on your own without the need of a team of developers, which is amazing. Being a tech founder who, I'm not a developer, I'm not a software engineer, I don't code. It's amazing because it's now given me superpowers, because I no longer rely on the teams of developers that I used to rely on. Now I can dream up something and then I can go and create it myself. It still takes me time because I still have to learn the new technology, but the new technology is a bunch of prompting versus coding. Whereas before we were coding, now we're prompting. We're just asking a bunch of questions. We're just guiding our AIs to do the things that we need them to do. So there's so much out there. People just have to do it because everything can be self-taught.
Right. Can you explain what vibe coding is for people who don't know it?
Yeah, so there are a couple of vibe coding tools out there that you can use, tools that require no coding. So if you've heard of Lovable, Lovable is like the one that a lot of people use. All you do is you get an account and you go in, and then it starts asking you questions like, what can you dream up? What do you want to create today? And then you start prompting it. So you tell it what you want. I'd like to create a personal website for myself. My name is Johanna. And then you feed it information like, this is my LinkedIn and this is my resume. It depends on your level of comfort with how much information you want to feed into the system. And you can feed it images, or sometimes they generate images for you. And then at the end, you'll have this very basic website. You just create it yourself without needing to go get software engineers. I mean, there are other tools that in the past would generate websites for you. And even those like Squarespace, Wix, the sites that you can create your own websites, like GoDaddy has them. All of them are integrating AI tools. So that way, all you have to do is tell it what you want to do. And then it just gives you a very rough draft of a website. That's just a very basic example, but people are using it for all kinds of things. We're not using Vibe tools right now for FoodStream, but we are integrating AI. We did have somebody who came and wanted to work with us, and he was really pushing vibe coding to us heavily, and we just didn't think that was a good direction for us. We are creating some features with different tools, but it's still in an infancy stage. But I encourage everybody to just play around. The other day I did have a very funny, almost scary situation happen to me. I was trying to build this platform, and it said, okay, if you just give me access to your account, I could just do it for you. And I was like, hell yeah. So I put like my information, and he or she, my AI, said, this is my email, just add me to the account. So I added them to the account, and then they said, oh, great, thank you so much. This will be done in 15 minutes. And I was like, okay, 15 minutes go by. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Oh, sorry, had a hiccup or something. It's gonna take another 20 minutes. And I'm like, okay, seriously, like an hour later, I'm working on this in the back end, and kept asking for more time. And at this point, I'm like, is this a real person hacking me, or is this my AI hacking me? And yeah, I was just like, I think my AI just duped me. And then I asked it, because you can ask them, are you really inside? I said, hey, so-and-so, because sometimes I give my AI names depending on where I'm using AIs. So I said, are you in there building this for me, or did you just dupe me? And she was like, she or he, they said, no, I can't get into your account, silly. I'm like, I'm a fictitious character. I was like, that's not even a real email. I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God. I mean, that brings me to a very important question. A lot of people are concerned about putting any information into their chat GPT because they don't know where it goes. And they don't know if it stores it somewhere, or if it comes out in someone else's chat GPT. Like, nobody really knows. And I don't know if you saw the morning show this past week, but there's this whole AI character that just basically blew up someone's life. And so
No, tell me.
you have to watch it. I can't for the people who haven't seen the episode, but it's really good. But it definitely begs the answer of, where does your information go? How does your ChatGPT or your AI use the information? How does it remain safe? All those questions. So
Okay, good. Don't tell me, because I haven't seen that episode.
Okay, but what do you think about when you put information in ChatGPT? Where does it go? Are there gates of information, or could it go to somebody
Yeah.
Africa? Who knows?
I mean, I've heard both sides. That Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, will say they're putting a lot of security measures in place for data privacy and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, they're telling people, listen, don't upload anything you don't want, like if it's private, I definitely think that people need to be careful with what they share. I don't think that right now, if I put something up, that you're going to be able to find it. At the same time, There's the whole thing of SEO, and I think it's called AGO. A friend of mine talks about that. It's another way of searching. You can program your GPTs and your AI tools to be found better because a lot of people are not doing it. You're probably going to have a bigger chance of getting whatever it is that you want to promote and get out to be found faster through ChatGPT if you program it that way. I don't know enough about it, and I don't think anybody knows enough about it yet. I urge everybody to be aware when you're playing around with these technologies. This is the beginning of the internet. What was happening at the beginning of the internet? Nobody knew, and everybody was just, this is at another level because at the beginning of the internet, not everybody could build a website. Today, anybody could build a website. 8-year-olds can build a website better than you and I can. They could do it on their phone. Yeah, I just urge everybody to be mindful, but also play around with the tech. I do think that people need to understand these things now. Not using the technology because of fear is not a good reason to not learn.
Yeah, totally. So tell us a little bit about FoodStream. What is it? How did you build it? And where is it going to go from here?
So I love FoodStream. FoodStream started as a passion project. So during the pandemic, my husband and I were on the ground helping to feed millions of New Yorkers in need. And we saw some horrific things, not with World Central Kitchen, but just the kind of levels of food insecurity that exist in our communities. I was very ignorant to what food insecurity even was. I had no idea what a food desert was. I didn't know anything about the space. What we thought was going to be 2 weeks of just helping out turned into a year and a half of working with the communities. And then at that point, we couldn't just turn a blind eye, and we couldn't just ignore the problem. And then when we started looking at the numbers, it was insane because we learned that food waste in this country is a $400 billion industry. We waste more food than all the countries put together. We also produce more food than all the countries put together. And then I couldn't understand why a place like the Bronx, which is what I was responsible for during the pandemic, has the highest levels of food insecurity in all the state of New York. And also the Bronx is the home to the largest fresh produce market in the world. I couldn't understand why there's so much food and so many people struggling from lack of food in the same zip code. So we decided to do something about it. And that's when we built FoodStream. We've done a couple of iterations of the platform. We like to say that it's like a LinkedIn for food insecurity. So people that have a lot of food sign up to the platform, and people that need a lot of food sign up to the platform. Food banks and people that have the food are in there, and then community-based organizations or churches or whoever needs the food, we connect them to each other. And then we're now developing a delivery which enables the transportation. So it's like an Uber of food insecurity. So we match the surplus to the need, and we enable transportation services. Yeah. And then we're also doing food education in schools now all over New York. We're a preferred vendor doing food education across all the boroughs, which is pretty cool. Yeah, we never thought we'd be doing any of this, but it's probably one of the most rewarding things we've ever done.
So where do you want FoodStream to go from here? Where do you see it in a couple of years?
Our goal is to start entering Latin America in 2 years. That means that we need to start expanding across the US from now on. So we're now entering New Jersey, and hopefully we'll be entering other cities very soon. So in 2 years, entering Latin America, since it's our near closest location wise, and then becoming a global AI food matchmaking tool. So we believe that we're going to be transforming the way food moves from communities with surplus to communities in need in real time. Right now, accessing data is hard because you can't access real-time data right now. It takes about 2 years minimum, and only a few people have access to that data. Right now, we want to democratize that and open it up so that you could see the movement in real time. So that's what we're doing, and that's where we hope to be in a few years.
Using your powers for good. I love it. Let's talk about content, pitching and producing content now. So as somebody who has sold shows before, I find it's an entirely different world right now trying to get a show off the ground. It's not just a great idea with talent attached. A lot of times you have to have a brand attached, or you have to have another commitment attached. You have to have all the elements together to bring it to a network. And even then, it's really hard to push through. So what's your perspective on integrating brands right now into show content or digital content? What's your experience? What's your perspective?
I think it's really hard for anybody going and pitching an idea without any traction. I definitely don't want anybody to stop pitching their ideas, but you can't do it the way that we're used to doing it in the past. I don't know of any networks right now that are giving money for ideas. I don't know any brands that are giving money for ideas. What I do know is brands and networks giving money and companies giving money to ideas that already come with tons of traction. Somebody came to me and said, I want to launch a YouTube show. I'm going to go after sponsors. I said, so you're going to wait to go to sponsors and you're going to wait to produce. Like, I'm just hearing a lot of delaying the process. I said, I would switch it completely and with a very frugal mindset, launch something immediately. Don't wait and wait for the whole process of development and stop. Just put something out there as quickly as possible. Make it good. Don't make it bad, but it doesn't have to be professional studio quality. And then drive traction, drive subscribers, drive viewers, because in the past, I was in 2012 running a YouTube channel. In 3 months, we had over 100,000 subscribers. That was 2012. Right now, it's very hard to get those kind of numbers in a short amount of time for anybody. I don't recommend anybody waiting to start building the audience. If you can't build your audience now, how are you expecting for anybody to give you any money? That's how those people are thinking. The brands are thinking that way.
Right.
The networks are thinking that way. Companies are thinking that way. Same thing on the tech side, like with my business. I don't just build a company on a deck and present it, pitch it, and then expect somebody to give me millions of dollars. No, I'm going into the pitches after being on the ground for 4 years, driving users, driving subscribers, moving tons of food. Like, I'm talking on the Foodstream side, Foodstream network. We've been able to move over 750,000 pounds of food, distributed almost 620,000 meals to over 57,000 families. All of that with a retail value of $5.6 million. That's what I'm going to investors with. That's what I'm pitching with. It might be enough. It might not be enough. My point is that we can't just expect to go out there and say, hey, brand A, here's a presentation, here's a deck. Can you give me $1.5 million for this? Or even $20,000?
Right.
They're not going to do it.
Yeah. It's not just a vision anymore. It's an execution too. Can you prove
You have to. Yeah, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for, all right, great. And you know better than anybody. You were developing content like crazy and you would pitch it and somebody would give you money to develop it, right?
That does not happen anymore, at least in my experience.
They want you to go figure out a way to produce it on your own, get viewers, get the cast, get the celebrities, get whatever it is that you need to get, then put it out there, distribute it, get the views, get the subscribers, get the people behind it. You build the community, and then they're going to look at you and say, okay, well, let me see your numbers.
Yeah. And the good thing is if you build a YouTube channel or whatever it is you're building, you're creating an IP that can be the underlying IP for the linear show. So that brings me to one other question in terms of getting investors. So say someone has a great idea for a project or a company and they do have followers and they've done all the legwork and now it's time to go out and look for investors. What's your advice? The best things to have, the best approach? What does one do?
What type of company?
I mean, let's say production company, because I know a lot of producers are listening to this. You want to have a production company that's doing digital things in the tech world. How do you present yourself to the investment community?
Well, investors want to hear how much traction have you had? So those numbers, and traction is different for everybody. So in a production company, traction might be how much content are you distributing yourself? How much content are you producing yourself? Let's say you're doing your own YouTube shows and you're driving hundreds and thousands of viewers and subscribers every month or every week or every day. That's great traction. They want to hear that. Another thing might be, if you developed your own platform, how many users, daily active users do you have? I don't know of many people that are traditional prodcos, because traditional prodcos never were really interesting to investors anyways, because unfortunately, and I know this very well because I was a prodco at one point, and I remember being in an investor meeting with 5 investors in front of me, and I stood up in front of everybody and I said, how come investors never want to invest in production companies? And they said, because you're a service company. What do you have? And it's true. I didn't have any IP. All the IP I developed was for the client. All the shows were for the client. We're on a profit margin that's so tiny. Production companies make very small profit margins. Where a tech company has 60%, and that's minimum. That's probably not even it. Tech companies have 100% plus profit margins.
Wow. It's just a whole nother world. Okay. So in terms of pitching for an investor, if you have an idea in tech, in your opinion, what are the key components that would help get somebody to pay attention to your idea? Is it the solving a problem? Is it the simplicity? What do you think moves an idea forward?
And all the accelerators that I've done, I've been doing pre-accelerators, like stuff with Techstars. What they do is they train you to pitch in 3 minutes, and they train you to be very succinct, be very focused, clear, and always start with the problem. Like you always want to start with the problem that you're solving, because people want to know why you're doing this. So, and I was talking to you about that one time. We kind of have to take the same approach for pitching a show. And most people don't know, but the element of the elevator pitch came from film, people in media. It's a producer's world. You had to pitch your story idea in the elevator to the executive. So that's where the whole elevator pitch comes from, because if you can't, then you're not going to get it. Definitely, prepare your pitch, make it short, make it solving a problem, a real problem. That was another thing. Like the other day I was meeting with some folks and I was giving them advice, and it was very long deck. At the end I was like, what's the problem that you're solving? For us, we make it simple for people to know immediately, so that by the end of the 17 slides, the person that you're pitching to, first of all, an investor is never going to sit through that unless you already got their attention. So perfect 3-minute or less pitches. You want to talk about the problem, the solution, the traction, the market, what's the market that you're targeting, and what's your SAM, TAM, SUM, the team, who's the team behind this, and the ask. That's it. You don't need more than that. You'll be able to tell them more after if you grab them.
And how hard is it to get investors for an idea that you have?
Depends on who you ask. I know people that have gotten investors like that. And then I heard stories of people who are like, all the people, Airbnbs, the Ubers, all those people will say, oh, we did so many pitches and everybody said no to us. My husband and I had another company called Two Goats. It was a creative technology studio. We pitched to a lot of people, and we were pivoting from a production company to a tech company because we realized nobody would invest in us. And then the pandemic hit, and a lot of what we were doing were live experiences using technology, and we were building our own first tech platform, but that didn't really move forward. It was too ahead of its time. But one time we had an investor call us, literally said, I have $50,000 for you. I'm going to wire those now. Like that stuff happens. So, I've heard both stories, but I would say don't assume that investors, especially now with the environment right now, it's hard. And, I get people telling us, oh, you should definitely not ask for more than 1.5, or no, you should definitely ask for 5. But then what the investor wants to know is, what's your valuation? How do you value your company? Well, the $20 million company and blah, 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 they want to know, what's the valuation? How much equity are they going to get? They don't even get to those conversations until they see the traction.
Right. So let's say you have a great idea and you want to take it to the investors or to market. Are there people that guide your idea through that process, like to compare it to when you're pitching a show, you have an agent? Is there somebody like that in the tech world?
For us, it's been accelerators. They offer you coaching, mentors. Usually you don't pay for that. If anything, they might pay you. Accelerators that are well known are Techstars. When you get into the accelerator program, they definitely give you, originally it was like 120,000, I think. Now I think it's 200,000, but they take like 6% of your company. There's also Y Combinator. Like these are tech accelerators where the big companies have gone through, all like Airbnb, Uber, Lyft, all the tech companies went through accelerators. So I would say those have been the most beneficial for us. I swear by them. I think they're just, you get schooling. It's like an MBA, and I have an MBA, and I think that I've gotten more from accelerators.
Wow.
Yeah, we just finished one with Amazon, so AWS and Techstars. It wasn't an accelerator, it was a boot camp program. But out of 400 companies, they picked 50. And out of those 50, we were like top 5, which was amazing. And then now we're going to be going to another program with them in San Francisco. If you want to pitch, if you want to have a company, whether it's a tech company or whatever it is, find those sources of support. There are grants out there for people with free resources, mentorship, coaches. Those resources are out there. You just have to find them. I'm constantly searching for that stuff. Constantly.
And did you know all this when you started, or it's just something that you learned along the way?
No, I've learned along the way. I've been an entrepreneur for like 20 years now. And I always feel that whatever I'm doing right now is preparing me for the next thing that I'm going to be doing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I think I know, but I have no idea.
I mean, Foodstream, that's why you're the top 5. Brilliant. And you're helping people. Who doesn't want to invest in that?
I hope so. It's tough. We're moving a lot of food on a weekly basis for free. And we're trying to get as many community-based organizations, nonprofits to join the platform because right now, and we've removed the paywall because we're not looking to make money. We're looking to get users in the platform. And so we can move more food. We have so much food. We get called every week, thousands of food. And now we're doing movie meals, something we call movie meals. We're moving every single day. We're moving food, trays of food from catered studio productions to local communities in need, where that food is going from like celebrities having it for lunch to students in the local community eating it in their food pantry.
You're a small company doing big things. And I think that's the key to success when it comes to any technology or any idea that needs to be expanded.
Don't wait for anybody to give you permission. Don't wait for anybody to, if anybody says, I didn't do it because I didn't know how, or I can't do it because I don't know how, to me, that's not an excuse. Because if you really want to do something, you figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to do a podcast. I'm still not that good. You know, we're doing it. Right. I didn't know how to be a TV producer. We're doing it. I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. We're doing it.
Yeah, you jump right in and you do it. Well, I'm glad that we covered this. But I do see Foodstream going global. There's no reason not to. And I know you'll get there. It's such a great idea and a wonderful thing that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if people want to find out more about you and more about Foodstream, where can they find you?
They can find me here on the podcast, the Media Machine podcast. I'm on all the socials. And Foodstream is foodstreamnetwork.com. And that's where they can find us, foodstreamnetwork.com.
Okay, amazing. Well, thank you for being the most incredible guest ever on your
podcast.
Yes. Thanks for letting me interview you. I really hope people learn from everything you said. I even learned more from just listening to you. And honestly, to everyone listening, this is how our phone calls go. I ask her a question and she just enlightens me with so much information that I didn't know prior. So thank you.
It's because I get to speak to so many cool people on this podcast. And just a plug, this season, we're going to have really, really incredible guests. We've already had some awesome conversations. We're going to start promoting some of these guests soon. So stay tuned and please listen to season 1 because we have some really incredible guests there. And Julie Kelman Reading is one of them.
Thanks so much for joining us. If you've listened to this point, you're on the right path to learning, doing, and achieving. If someone sent you this episode, it means that person believes in you and cares about your future. Thank you, Johanna, for letting me be your guest host, and stay tuned for new episodes of The Media Machine premiering all year. And please reach out to us with questions and feedback. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, see you next time. Welcome to The Media Machine. Oh, sorry. I'm starting over. Scratch up. Okay, hold on. You're going to call this out. Here.
Color on my face.
This should be your outtakes.
A hot mess.
Oh, you look great. Okay. Don't put
that on. Hair is gorgeous.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Starting that over. Turning phone off. The automation of it all, like how does this make our lives better? I can't read this, so I'm starting with my glasses. This episode of The Media Machine is hosted by Julie Kelman Redding. Our producers are Johanna Salazar and Julie Kelman Redding. This episode features music from Invento Elements. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us at The Media Machine Podcast on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time.